Speakers Greetings Alliance, Critical Speaker Man here. Today we will be diving into a few more theories that predate the release of episode 78. Additionally, we will also be covering the new episode 79 leaks as well. So without further ado, let's theorise. So these theories will be more focused around season 25, but some of them will be related to episode 79, as Jimmy will be a main talking point in this video. But first, who is this someone Juggernaut mentioned? During the debate between Jimmy and Juggernaut, he raises the point of someone Jimmy knows being there by special request during the capture of TV man Titan. But who? By disregarding the NPC carrier, which is the same one from episode 75, we are left with three options: Duchess, the Assailant Commander, and the Core Parasite. Out of the three, it's most likely the Duchess. Jimmy, after humbling Juggernaut, sympathises the emotional pain Juggy feels. This may be a stretch, but Duchess could be Jimmy's daughter, with the mother figure yet to be revealed or presumed dead. The few similarities between the two is the way they signal with their eyebrows and their gremlin expressions before using their laser eyes. After all, there is a saying that bananas don't fall far from the tree. But for Jimmy to be able to share Juggernaut's pain, Duchess must have got hurt without Jimmy being able to help, which could still be ongoing, with the subtitles in episode 76 fueling this theory. The Duchess says "stop tormenting me" as she shoots red energy from her eyes and mouth, her eyes still bloodshot after doing so, suggesting that the energy channeling through her, likely from the halo, is painful. Alternatively, she's under some sort of control, or she's talking to the Skibidi that attacked her directly. It's too early to know, but it's something to think about. As for the Assailant Commander, he was the one who asked her to join him in episode 76, and the Parasite was just there to have a good time. Moving on, what does the Assailant Commander mean by Jimmy is a rat? The term rat could either mean two things in this context. One, he's insulting the fact Jimmy is very slippery in his escapes, so it's hard to track him down and catch him like a rat. Or two, he's using the word in a slang context of being a traitor or snitch. I'm leaning towards the slang route, as we can theorise that betrayal Jimmy did to Duke based off this word alone. As to what the betrayal was exactly, we don't know. Neither do we understand why Jimmy was motivated to defy the Astros in the first place. An injustice? That's someone he knows being hurt? Guilt? It's too early to know, but what we do know is that the betrayal itself would have sent shockwaves throughout the Astro ranks. Jimmy was stripped of his reputation, status, and resources, and it's likely the Astros will call him names like Rat or Double Crosser after that, especially ones of more freedom of thought like the Assailant, with only Juggernaut still referring to him as Commander regardless of what Jimmy did. This clearly shows how close Jimmy and Juggernaut's friendship was, so it's unsurprising why he took up on Jimmy's offer to join the Alliance, and now because of that, he can carefully decide when to defect the Astros to be with his best bro and for the safety of his children. But if I had to take a guess on what the betrayal Jimmy committed was, it would have to be something to do with the secret agent and their ongoing cooperation to communicate, infect, or protect each other. But how did they meet and start working together? If we look back at the poster in episode 74 with a crash-landed Astro Jimmy, it's possible the agent and other members of Alpha Hills went to investigate it as a government-funded research facility. And that's when they first met Jimmy and started talking. Jimmy would have warned the agent about the Astro invasion coming to their planet, thus ratting the Astros out. The agent would have taken his word. After all, Jimmy came from beyond the Earth, meaning their technology must be more advanced, their species smarter, and the weaponry even more powerful. Their mutual goal would be to save the Earth from the Astros' inevitable offensive, and is ultimately what prompted this alliance to form. This also explains why the agent hinted at a greater threat to Plunger Man, as how would he know unless he is a visionary or without Jimmy? But why would Jimmy want to spare Earth in particular, and not any of the other countless planets the Astros have annihilated? My guess is Jimmy values something about Earth, and was against its oppression. It could have been because humanity was a rational thinking species that shared similar biology to the Astros, or it could have been some technology the humans were working on that the Astros didn't have or know about. Either way, the scientists shared a similar interest with Jimmy, and that explains why he joined them, which is evident from the note in episode 70. As for the agent, it would be in humanity's best interest to protect their only home planet. On top of that, the agent could see this collaboration as an opportunity to advance humans technologically with the guidance of these new allies for the greater good. This may have triggered the creation of the Skibidi virus, and as Boom said in an interview, Once you have transformed, you can only become something better, which could explain the scream in the hallways during the first secret scene of Season 25. Whether the agent knew how Jimmy and scientists would conduct these enhancements via the Skibidi virus and the leading Skibidi war that followed is up in the air. But that arms race during the Skibidi war ultimately paid off, as it accelerated the development of stronger and better weapons by necessity. And if it's one thing for certain, if Jimmy didn't rat the Astros out to the agent, Earth and its technology wouldn't have stood a chance. Speaking of the agent, the way the agent talks is really strange. It's like an alien or AI trying to replicate what he thinks a human expresses and talks like in some conversations. This behaviour is similar to the G-Mans from Half-Life, and it's a popular theory that the agent will play a similar role to him in the series, by observing and finding pawns as a means to nudge things in a particular
direction from time to time.
But there is a more popular theory that the agent is infected with the Skibidi virus, which is why we can see his face spasm and shake just out of sight. I think it's very likely he is infected with the Skibidi virus, but Jimmy or the scientist created a medicine or inhibitor for his body to resist the transformation into a Skibidi toilet or mutant, whilst they were still collaborating in secret. Aside from his strange interactions and his spasming face muscles, we do have another source of evidence. Now, whether you think this video is canon to the series like the Plunger Man Fortnite teaser is up to you, but for this theory's sake we will consider it as canon. Earlier this year, when Boom was overcoming the lawsuit, he posted a video on Discord called We Back, which shows the agent destroying his office with yellow eye lasers similar to how Jimmy would. The video even has a Skibidi song in the background alongside the agent's over-exaggerated facial expressions. Now, if this isn't some solid foreshadowing that the agent is infected or has become Skibidi, then I'm not sure what else I can use to back this point up with. But the yellow energy is more than enough proof if this video is canon. Now onto my last theory. What even is this computer realm? But first, how do we know that this is related to computers or potentially a computer race? It's when the point of view is infected with the Alpha Hills operating system through a floppy disk. Floppy disks were an early method of transferring data physically from one computer to another, before flash drives and disk drives became the norm. How they managed to squeeze an entire operating system onto your average 1 to 2 megabyte floppy disk is beyond me. But the main point is, when the operating system installs, the world around them changes in a similar fashion to the Windows XP background. Additionally, we can hear the Windows 98 startup theme when it happens. With all this evidence, it's pretty obvious that this is a computer realm of sorts. As for what the realm could be, it might be similar to the TV's Abyssal realm, but for the agent and the other members of his family. It's likely they phase into this realm when they disappear at that bright green flash. This dimension would be a lot safer and possibly inhabitable for these agents based being located somewhere in there, which sounds a lot better in comparison to the TV's Abyssal realm. But all this is speculation, and we will need more footage to decide this realm before we can draw a valid conclusion. Welcome back. Alright, let's talk about the new episode 79 leaks. First of all, 79 will be split into parts just like episode 77, so these leaks will be for part 1 of however many parts Boom makes. The first leak is of the Mafia Toller, which I'm glad people are starting to recognise him more now. We have seen him earlier in the show during episode 77, but it was made more clear by the massive leak dump in the new year by Boom, which gives us a clearer image of him, which I broke down in a community post. The next leak we can see the Berserker mutant pointing at someone or something. In both of these leaks, the mutant's eyes and lasers glow the distinctive Skibidi yellow, likely to emphasise their race, as what the Berserker is pointing at is what will lead me to my next point. No, not that leak. This one. We can see Duchess sitting on a building, which the overall community agrees is the camera base from 77 based in New Zealand. As for how they got there is due to the Alliance network being compromised by the Astros. Now the Watchman is now in effect. But who or what is she looking at? It will be too soon for the Watchman to come back, as it has only been one episode since his transformation. So it's either the Assailant Commander, the Duke, or dare I say, the Detainer. But considering what Boom said in an interview, then we will find out what the Assailant was discussing to the decoy Jimmy in episode 60 in this new episode. so it's more than likely the assailant will show up, but the next leak may hint of an unexpected guest. In this leak we can see an energy chamber or some kind of reactor glowing with the distinctive orange Astro energy. I don't believe we have seen any character or mechanized unit in the show so far with this thing on them, so the Duke can make an unexpected appearance with the assailant to the cameraman base after the Duchess and the rest of the Essos have cleaned up after the initial attack on the base. The remaining leaks being images of that ensuing invasion of the base and the fight that followed, with a camera strider and an orbital camera being participants in the defense of their base, but based on the Duchess leak earlier, it's pretty safe to say there were no survivors, and there could have been buying time for the personnel inside the base to escape their annihilation.
But I'm not done yet!
Hello everyone, Elite Critical Speaker Man here. Unfortunately, during the video editing process, more leaks came out and the Critical Speaker Man lost his voice due to sickness. I will quickly sum up the leaks we got, as there isn't anything mind-boggling in the new ones that would change the predicted outcome of the new episode. First off, we now know the Skibidi scientist mech will take part in the initial defense of the cameraman base, with another leak showing us a different angle where we can see one of the Mafia toilet's guns and Skibidi Jackson. It's now also been confirmed that the Mafia toilet is now classed as a semi-titan like the Executor. Both of the Astro's obliterators in the leak are looking at each other, likely bracing themselves for an important Astro figure to appear between them, which I predict would be Astro Duchess. The last two images are within the camera base, which they have now erected a statue of Plunger Man in remembrance of his contribution to the cameraman race, and his pose being a reference to his fearlessness in episode 50 before Camera Titan saved the day. The other image has the detective cameraman holding a device, but the potato quality of the leak makes it hard to inspect what it is. But if I had to take a guess, due to the presence of a speaker man and the head camera engineer, it could be a cassette the cameras could use to talk with. The last thing I want to point out are the sockets on the wall. The left socket is glowing with the orange Astro energy color, which suggests they are experimenting on Astro equipment, and that could have led to the discovery of their base from a tracker they failed to identify. That's all I have to say. The outro of the video was recorded before the Critical Speaker Man lost his voice. Elite Critical Speaker Man, out.
And I think that will be enough for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found these theories interesting. We are almost there to 100 subscribers, and when we do, I'll create a Q&A community post for you guys to ask me anything related to the channel and the Skibidi toilet. I really appreciate all the nice comments and subscriber growth we've reached since my last video, and I don't intend of stopping anytime soon. But in the meantime, stay critical, Alliance, and I'll see you next time.
Innovate yourself.